Hi there, Joy here. Today I'm working on something, or actually it's going to take a few days. I'm working on something that was a sudden inspiration. If you happen to read my blog post, which is Adventures in Menopause, and the address for that post is survivinglifeover40.com, I posted the other day about how I had a bit of an inspiration while I was wandering around the dollar store. And what happened is, last Christmas, I made some glass-covered sconces with polymer clay canes. And things like this, I bought a few different shapes, and I made polymer clay canes, and I covered them. But I made canes that also included translucent clay, and that way when the light candle or whatever you've got in the middle shines, it will shine through the pattern on the polymer clay cane. Anyways, I made some of these, I gave them out for Christmas gifts, and they went over really well. My sister-in-law has been hinting that she'd like another one. So I went to get another one of these, thinking that I would make one for her birthday, which is coming up. And while I was in the store, I always grab an extra one or two with things like this, because it's always nice to have something around to fart around with when you're feeling crafty. And that's when it occurred to me, as I had the extra one, that it would be really cool to try and do one that uses the negative space to make a pattern. And by the negative space, I mean instead of putting a shape of something I want on the glass and having the light shine around it, I wanted to cover the glass, or cover all of the glass except for the central shape, and have the light shine through that. And I'm going to do that, or attempt to do that. I'm going to try, because it sounds exciting, in a Batman theme, because my daughter is big on Batman. She's batty for Batman. Pardon the pun. And so I've decided that I'm going to take advantage of the fact that this is square and has 4 separate sides, and I'm going to put a different picture, Batman-themed picture, on each side, and I'm going to use the negative space to allow the light to shine through in Batman-type things, Batman ways. So here's my idea. I'm going to make this video short and sweet, because once I start working, I'm going to change the camera angle. I still haven't figured out how to edit things. It drives me nuts. My daughter said she'd help me one of these days. And maybe then I'll have better videos. We can always hope. But in the meantime, I've been working on a way to change my camera angle. I have had some comments on my YouTube page about the fact that if the camera angle is the way it is now, you can see what I'm working on only to a certain degree. Like if I'm working on this side, you can't necessarily see what I'm actually doing to it until I show you. It's understandable. I realize this, and thank you for the comments. I've just been trying to figure out how to best fix it. So I tried clipping the camera to my shirt. Didn't really work. I've tried a few other things. With the pumpkin videos, I stood off to one side, hoping that it would give you a better view of what I was actually working on. But with polymer clay, it's not really something you could do. You can't stand off to one side to work with it. You have to work with it fairly close to yourself, to your body, and that doesn't give a lot of space. So what I'm doing is I'm going to attempt something new, and I've got kind of a framework. I'm going to put the camera above what I'm working on and see if that works. So this video is going to be an intro to explain what I'm doing, because once I change the camera angle, all you're going to see is hopefully what I'm working on in my hands. So it might be kind of a startling turn on the camera. There's nothing but a pair of hands. But hopefully it means you can see what I'm doing better. So back to my explanation. I've drawn out a plan. This is rare, but my idea, when it popped into my head and I started thinking about what I could do and ways to do it, got a little complicated. So I decided it would probably be good to actually sketch something out for a change, to give me some guidance, so that I could figure out what the problems hopefully are going to be before I get there. I still know it's going to be pretty complicated. I'm not sure how well it's going to go, but it's going to be fun, because it's going to be interesting. It's a challenge. I like a challenge. So here is the sketches that I've been working on. So I'll try to show them to you one at a time. This is going to be the main side, the Batman side. So anything that's not scribbled in with ink is going to be where the light shines through. Basically, I'm going to cover the whole side of the glass in black. and I'm going to cut away the design so that the bat symbol's in the center. I've got some diamonds to represent Harlequin. This part I have to rework. I think I'm going to swap it around so that the pow and bam and stuff are on the outside corners and they have more space for the points, and put maybe the Riddler question mark kind of thing in the center from that. I've got some streaks going out. They're just kind of like action, kind of comic book style. And I've got some curlicue viney things that kind of represents poison ivy. So this is kind of the basic idea for what I'm going to do. This side is going to be nothing but black and then light shining through. So I'm going to try this one first because I think it's going to be the easiest for me. This one is going to be Gotham City. Now this is going to be, I'm going to basically cover it all in black again. I'm going to cut out the skyline. I'm going to cut some random windows to let the light shine through when the candle's lit. The top part, so far, I think I'm going to leave it clear, but I may change my mind later and try to fill that in with a translucent mixed with some dark blue for a night sky. I think it's going to be like it is in the other ones. It's going to be a little difficult to try and match the corners, match the edges of two different colors. So I'll do it if I don't like the way it looks, but hopefully I can just make it work this way. The little bat symbol light that's coming out here, I was going to do this with a goldy color mixed with translucent because I'd like the light to still shine through it as it would if it was the bat symbol in the sky. However, in my travels downstairs to get what scrap clay and stuff I had left, I found some glow-in-the-dark clay, and I thought, all right, well, I don't know if it's going to stay glow-in-the-dark once it's mixed with translucent, but it still has kind of a funky light neon greenish color. So I'm going to now use that for this ray of light and for the oval section of the bat symbol. The center part will still be black. And this, I'm not sure, it's going to be fairly small. Like this is actually to scale. Like I traced the sides of the candle sconce, the glass base, to draw the drawings. And so I don't have an oval cutter. I thought I did that size, but the smallest oval cutter I have is actually quite a bit bigger than that and would take up a lot more of the sky. So trying to get this is going to be interesting. I'm going to try and draw an itty bitty stencil so that I can trace it onto the black and onto the glow-in-the-dark, cut around it, and then peel out the center to put the black piece in. It's not that easy. I did do it before using cutters when I did some jewelry pieces that were meant to look like quilt blocks. Basically, I cut out a bunch of different colors and different shapes, and then I swapped them so that the center pieces were a different color than the outside edge. And it turned out nice, but it was kind of fidgety trying to get the pieces to line up where the seams had been. So this being that it's not a cutter and it's going to be all hand-drawn, I think it's going to be quite a challenge. But not the biggest challenge, because that's still coming. Anyways, I'm going to try this one second, because I think I'm kind of getting gradually harder as I go. It's going to be fun. Hopefully I learn something by the time I get to the last one. So third page, I actually drew it upside down, unfortunately. This is the bottom, the traced bottom, because the bottom of this thing is slightly narrower than the top. So it's a little bit upside down. But anyways, it's going to be, I'm not going to try and draw Joker's face. No way. But I saw this when I was looking up Joker symbols online. I saw this kind of a logo of his. It showed up in several different places, and I thought, okay, well, I can use that. That's fairly simple. So again, I'm going to do the whole background black. I'm going to cut out the letters, and in the center of each letter is a little, like a heart. I could see my drawing. Haha. That's probably a club, a diamond, and a spade, or something like that. And I'm going to try and make those in red and black clay, just itty-bitty tiny little suits to put in the center of each of those. So that one hopefully will be fairly simple, as long as I can get the lettering to look nice and clean. If it looks a little boring when I'm done, I think I might cut out the outline of a few cards, so it looks kind of like a splayed deck of cards around the top. Just enough of an outline to kind of let the light shine through and give the impression of cards. So this is the first three sides. The last side is going to be quite difficult. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm still going to try it, but I don't know how it's going to go. honestly, because my daughter's favorite character so far is Harlequin. And I'm not going to try and do the Harlequin that's in the movie. I'm not doing ponytails and blah, blah, blah. It's just too hard. This is a fairly simple face and a fairly simple shapes, so I thought I would give it a try. So I've drawn it out, and what I'm going to do, I hope, is the scribbled in bits are going to be black. Her face is actually going to have no clay on it. It's going to be where the light shines through. So the light will shine through her mouth, her eyes, and her skin, and the collar, which is meant to be white. This half of the costume, here and here, that's lighter, is going to be red, but I'm mixing the red with translucent. Because I want the light to shine through it, I just want it to glow red instead of being clear. Now, I've played with translucent clay many times before. I have no idea how much solid color I can mix with it and still have it translucent. I have mixed it many times and used colored translucent clay for the same thing that I made last Christmas. So I know it works. I don't know where the line is where it suddenly stops being translucent. So it's probably not going to be a bright, vibrant red when I do this. I hope that it's worth it and it shines through nicely when the light's on. Because I only want to use maybe a quarter red to the rest translucent. I want to make sure the light still shines through it. And I don't want to mess with that because it's going to be a lot of work. If it doesn't work later, it's not going to be worth it. So between her face and body and the background, I'm going to leave, as you can see, a little outline where there's no clay. I want to make sure I can differentiate between, especially since part of her is black, differentiate between her character and the background piece. So instead of trying to do it just on sides when it was black, I decided I'd go all the way around the whole darn thing. So I may be trying to just kind of cut the whole thing, like put the clay on the whole side, cut the outline that I want, peel off the pieces that are going to be a different color, and use them as a stencil on the color that's going to replace it, and then put it back in. I have a little more leeway here than I would in the city if I had the sky, because of that little gap between. It doesn't have to fit perfectly. The edges don't have to match perfectly. Because it's clay too, I can kind of squish it around a bit, but I don't want to do it too much because I want it to be flat. I don't want to have it all lumpy. And if I start stretching things out, it thins down that part and it won't have the same thickness as the rest. So hopefully this works out. This is going to be the most challenging part, but I think if it works, it's going to look really cool. And I'll have a four-sided Batman candle sconce. It'll be really unique, and hopefully she'll really love it. So because these are going to be a little complicated, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to do 4 separate videos aside from this one. I'm going to try to do a video for each side because, as I say, I'm kind of winging it. I'm kind of not winging it because I have a plan, but I'm still winging it because I've never tried something like this before. So it may take a little while. There may be some trial and error. And instead of having a 4-hour-long video, I'm going to try and do 4 shorter videos. Hopefully it takes me like less than an hour to do each side, but I make no promises. And obviously I can't get my daughter to help me try to edit this because it's for her and it's a surprise. Shh. I'm pretty sure she really doesn't care what any of my blogger videos are, so she doesn't watch any of them. So I think I'm safe. I don't think I have to worry about her saying, oh, Mom's put on another video, and click on it, because I don't think she's actually looked at any of them. But if you are someone who knows us, please don't tell my daughter. And that's today's little intro. Like I said, the next time I turn on the camera to start one of these, the camera angle is going to be different. So you won't see me, which I'm okay with because, you know. But you hopefully will have a better angle at what I'm doing. I'm trying to, like I said, I built a little framework. It's about this high, and I'm going to have to try and work underneath it, which is going to be interesting. It may jiggle a little bit, but I'm hoping it still allows the camera to pick up what I'm doing better. Unfortunately, I can't build it high enough to get far enough away to have like a big wide overview. It's actually quite a close-up view because I did a little test. It's quite a close-up view of my hands and what's going on. but hopefully it still shows enough of what's happening that it's better than it was from this angle. You'll be able to see more from this angle. So I'm trying to improve it. I'm trying to figure out ways to get this whole thing set up properly so that eventually there's a really nice clear view of what's going on in front of me, so that you can see what I'm doing. I don't know if I'd call this a tutorial, because in order to teach something you have to know what you're doing, really. But if you're feeling brave and you've got someone in the family that likes Batman and you want to give it a try along with me, great. Because if you figure out how to do something that I haven't figured out, let me know. Really, I'm kind of doing this more for me than anything, because I'd like to document the fact that this is the most challenging thing I think I've tried to do yet on a candle sconce, and if it works out, it's going to be fabulous. So, again, pop back over and keep checking. There will be, hopefully, this video plus 4 more in the end, 1 for each side, and then we'll hopefully light it up and see how it looks once it's baked. And wish me luck. I'll see you soon.